Been a while. Feels like it's been forever. I have been in a completely introverted, withdrawn, self-facing place, and I've been going into that inner place to actually rid myself of being too internal. In the act of going within, I was able to kind of let go of my own personal stuff and move into, I'm going to call it the generational wound, and then I'm going to kind of describe what I mean by that. There's an external energy that we all share, and it's kind of one of my favorite phrases in the women's circle is one woman's work is every woman's work. One human's work and trauma is every human's work and trauma. The lies that tell ourselves and that maybe we are told because our parents don't know any better and they do the best they can and their parents taught them those lies are what we call it's kind of inherited generational trauma. So even if it's not something that you directly experienced, some of it you inherit. And if you have felt that call, you have been tapped and you are responsible to heal your line, both yourself and first yourself. You have to put your mask on yourself to heal others. And then also, the beautiful thing is not only will it heal those that follow you in your familial line, it will heal those retroactively that came before you. Spirits will rest more peacefully, and you'll be able to make more peace with whomever came before you. So that's what I mean by going within, understanding your personal story, but then understanding that defining yourself by that story and whatever battle scars you think that you're wearing as armor are still armor. And it means that you're still kind of telling the story as opposed to not bypassing the story, not suppressing the story. But there's going to come a time when you've done a lot of work to move a lot of that residual energy. And I believe up and through your body is the only successful way to make those changes last, to chemically restructure yourself through really going through, physically looking at, sitting in, and transforming your trauma. Because the flip side of it, the flip side of those wounds is 100% your talents and gifts. So whatever you think what might bring you shame is exactly what your gold is, and probably what you were brought here at this time in this world to share. So that's the place that I've been in, is going within to kind of rid myself of those. It's not gone forever, but rid myself of the immediate behaviors, automatic behaviors, and learn new ones. And I needed to do that, even though I typically learn by sharing, which is what I do here every day, was to give you my testament and my experience of this process. I needed to kind of bottle it up and go within. And I really didn't talk to many people at all. I kept it really internal, and it needed to be. And it really does continue to be. I don't know if I'm back for good, but I did want to come on and offer you something that I'm looking at now. So I have started to write again. I started to write poetry. I've written poetry since basically since I started to write. I didn't have the longevity or the attention span to get through a short story, but I've been writing poems, I don't know, since I'm a kid. And so I did start a Substack column, which is Rebecca Deepwater, and you can go and check out my work there if you like. And what I'm peering into now, because I am an artist, I grew up a musician, I am a dancer, I am a creative person. And I think I stifled that outlet for a long time, or I used other things to express that outlet. All good. But I want to get back to the actual creation of art. And so I find that in doing all of the shadow work, and my experience with plant medicine was that I went in with the intention that I wanted to alleviate my persona, my ego, to see really what's there, kind of to see below the trapdoor that's in the basement, to see the crawl space beneath, and really deal with whatever was there. And the lesson I got was, you've already been to the sub basement. Now you need to be brave enough to step into the light. And I was like, whoa. And I've only done plant medicine one time, and I'm still transmuting the lessons and effects. I consider it from time to time, but I don't think I'm done with the lessons that I was given. I'm still processing and integrating all of the gifts that I had in that very potent and powerful journey. So, what I find as I work myself into a new creative space is that I have always readily identified myself with the shadows. I was a teenage goth. I love like the vampire lore. I love the darkness. I love the shadows. And for a time, I definitely drowned in the shadows on purpose. I drowned myself in my own shadow because that's what I needed to do. The moody teenager was driving the bus, and um, but those feelings were so visceral. They were so near the surface. It's where I wrote chapters and chapters and chapters of my memoir in that raw, wounded place. And now that I feel that I've gained a little wisdom and a little space, and I am a little detached from that, like immediate, like reactive place, I've also lost a little bit of that immediacy because you give that up in maturity and wisdom. So as I write now, I look to that muse and I can feel that I'm going to have to kind of dip my toe back into it's going to be a different experience because I am a completely different person, but I feel the need to experience what it's like to create in the light but draw from the dark. I have always loved symphonies in a minor key. I have always loved Caravaggio's art, which tends to be very moody and shadowy. So there is a dark streak of my attraction to my darkness and the darkness. And darkness is not bad. Shadows are not bad. They are mysterious. They are a little like they're not what they seem to be at first sight. And I appreciate that it takes a little bit of effort to kind of dig into the dark. You have to feel your way in. There's a different level, as I was talking to my man last night, there's a different level of soul that occurs in the dark. Inspiration comes from the light, but your soul digs into your shadow. So what I'm trying to do now is stand on the razor's edge of those two emotions and channel them into poetry. So that's where I am at the moment. And I have missed communicating, and I have missed those of you that watch. And so I'm going to see how this week goes and see how I feel about broadcasting again. I do miss it, but I was really a slave to it. And I was really afraid that I was doing it just to check a mark, not because I was super inspired to do so. And I never want to come from a place of rote. I always want to come from a place of true testimony and the absolute rawest truth that I can bring. So that is where I am. And that's what has come up for me. And maybe I'll see you tomorrow.